Last time on
Casino Royale with cheese. I gotta say, this is a weird museum too, man. I mean, I'm not, once again, neither mimes nor am I like a museum connoisseur, but those are not two of my interests.
And now, the conclusion.
Houston, we have a problem.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Silent breed is people!
Yo, Adrian!
Let's put a smile on that face.
I gotta warn you, Clark. They don't play the same games here as they do at them regular casinos.
Royale, too.
You're wasting your life making shit! Nobody cares! These movies are terrible!
Welcome back to Casino Royale with cheese. This is episode number 18 of the show, where we discuss movies that were number one at the box office exactly 20 years ago. My name is Shane. With me today, I am joined by none other than the man who breeds the same way Godzilla did, mostly by himself. This is Mike.
Oh, God. I do spend a lot of time breeding by myself.
Pretty good, yeah. Fortunately, you can't impregnate yourself.
Yeah, never productively. But,
right, yeah. Just
give it the old Boy Scout try.
Right. Yeah, just for your own entertainment. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, man. Another weekend down the tubes.
Yeah. We're on baby watch over here at my house, man.
I know we're like a week and counting, right?
If it lasts that long, it's looking kind of up in the air, really. But it should be honestly any time now. So I'm kind of pumped.
How upset is she going to be when you have to stop in the middle of labor in order to record an episode?
Well, I would feed the baby, honey, but, I got to do this thing with Mike, so, Yeah, I'd say pretty pissed. She would not like that. I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, this is the show where we discuss movies from 20 years ago, number one at the box office, and we have a doozy today, my friend. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're talking about?
Well, this week we are discussing the 1998 hit Godzilla.
Hit being the operative word. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. This is the old Matthew Broderick one, and this one had an interesting cast to it, man. It had not only Matthew Broderick. This had several of the alumni from The Simpsons for some reason or another. This had Hank Azaria, who he does like the voice of Mo in that TV show, the bar. It had Harry Shearer. He was the news reporter douchebag guy in this thing, but he plays like Ned Flanders and the news reporter Kent Brockman, I think his name is. And who's the other one? Oh, Nancy Cartwright, that does the voice of Bart Simpson, was in this for like a real quick moment when she was like the secretary. She's like, I think your story just went by the window or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. It was directed by Roland Emmerich, the fellow that brought us Independence Day a couple years before this, like 4 years maybe. Mm-hmm. And this has his fingerprints all over it. I think that in a lot of ways this feels just like that movie. But what else is there? He's really into disaster stuff. He's one of those names that he's not. What's his name? That turd that does the Transformers crap.
Oh,
drawing a blank.
Oh, what is his name?
I can't believe I can't remember that dude's name. Jeez, what the hell's the matter with me?
I don't know. Something's just as wrong with me. I should know this for sure.
Yeah, you like those movies better than I do.
You caught me completely off guard.
Yeah. Michael Bay.
There you go.
Yeah. Michael Bay, he's, this is the other guy that basically made his career out of wanton destruction, because he went on to do, like, the 2012, he did The Day After, or Day After Tomorrow, just all these disaster movies back in the day. And so that was, like, his bread and butter there for a while. But, it's, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. What's your familiarization with this movie, Mike? Have you seen it before?
I have. I saw it sometime around when it came out. I know I didn't go to the theater to see it.
Yeah.
Sure, I watched it on like a VHS release. But I'm most familiar with this film's soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
This movie came out in 1998, and Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Mr. Puff, I don't know, whatever he's going by today, he was very prevalent in 1998.
Yeah.
And he did the collaboration with
Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the soundtrack was pretty big.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't like that rendition, his little cover of Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. But I do like the Wallflower song, The Heroes. I thought that was a good song, so figured that one out. Here's something stranger is my dad really likes the Puff Daddy thing though. So.
Your dad?
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, I still haven't seen the photo of your dad at prom with the afro.
Yeah, I gotta whip that thing out, man. That thing's out of control. How familiar are you with the Godzilla franchise as a whole? We're going back to the kaiju stuff here.
Well, if you're gonna sit here and start asking me about like directors and year and all that, I'm not. But I can tell you that my dad watched those films a bunch when I was a kid. So I mean, I saw all of them.
Oh, okay. So you actually, because I couldn't tell you anything about like the directors and stuff like that. I'm sitting here like some Japanese guy, I would assume.
Pretty safe bet.
Yeah. But, I couldn't begin to tell you. But you probably have a little bit more familiarity with that whole thing than I do, I would say.
I mean, man, to be honest, I was a kid when I was watching these things, so it was a giant dinosaur / lizard smashing Tokyo to bits.
Right.
Breathing, like, electric fire, fighting other monsters and aliens. The one that sticks out in my mind the most is Mothra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know there's some clashing between Godzilla and King Kong.
Right.
Which doesn't make any sense because King Kong was much smaller than Godzilla.
Yeah. That's what I always thought was funny about that whole thing because, okay, so you've got the Empire State Building and Godzilla or King Kong is literally climbing up this thing. Now, granted, in the Godzilla thing, if you stood the Empire State Building next to him, it might still have a little bit of height on him, but he's way too big to be climbing up that thing, dude.
No, he just tears it down.
Yeah, exactly. He'd just punch a hole right through it, yeah. And so it doesn't make any sense, but I don't think it's supposed to. Growing up, I knew a little bit about, like, Mothra, and I knew, obviously, because King Kong was like a staple in my childhood. I saw that movie several times for some reason. And I knew about like Mechagodzilla and stuff like that. And I think I might have even seen like the King Kong and the Mechagodzilla and maybe the original. But in my, adulthood or even later on in my teen years, I never watched that stuff, It was always too cheesy.
Godzilla a lot of times was like the hero.
Yeah, except in the first one, and like
right.
They would reboot the franchise later, like Godzilla in 1985 and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like in the Tokyo series of movies, the first one he was a menace, and then after that he was basically saving Tokyo from like aliens and other monsters.
Right. It's the friend of my enemy is my friend or whatever thing. Yeah, or the enemy of my enemy is my friend, I guess. So like he was But basically, there was a bigger threat, and he was there to eliminate it, essentially. The one that I actually got into as a kid, there was this kaiju movie called The Mysterians. It came out in 1957. And there was this big, weird-ass, like, rat-looking robot that, like, came out of a mountain at one point. His name was Mogira. And, man, that dude was awesome. And I thought that movie was really cool as a kid. But I guess they've done other entries into it, but I never watched them. But, but it was the same company, Toho, that did all the Godzilla crap. As far as this one goes, I saw it in the theater, well, at the drive-in theater. Remember I told you back when we did Lost in Space, I did that doubleheader with Lost in Space and Godzilla?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the first and only time prior to this week that I had seen that movie, or this movie. So...
Yeah, I think I've only seen it once before this week as well.
Yeah. I think it's interesting... Because I guess originally Godzilla, the intent of it was to provide kind of like a parable about, because you have to think before the first Godzilla movie came out, within a decade before that, Japan had just gotten hit with 2 nuclear bombs, basically, And so from what I could tell, it seems as though like this was, like Godzilla was kind of a parable for the long-term effects of radiation and nuclear stuff, and so it seems kind of weird to see America then make their own version of it. But
hey, if it makes a buck.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I think it's interesting because I think that Sony or Columbia TriStar, the people that made this thing, they had it in mind that they wanted to like do the American version of Godzilla, and then they just basically like Toho was really pissed off because they wanted this to be like a continuation of their series, not its own separate deal, and so they actually wound up incorporating this movie into the lore of Godzilla, claiming that apparently in one of the movies that the Americans encountered what they thought was Godzilla, but it really wasn't, and then the real Godzilla proceeded to like kick its ass later on. And yeah,
really,
yeah, and since then we've done the more traditional Godzilla stuff in like the 2014 movie and whatnot. But yeah, anyway, that's about the extent of my Godzilla familiarity. Do you want to take a shitty guess at these numbers, Mike?
I'm pretty sure it was number 1 for 1 week.
Well, let's get started here talking about budgets. It was made on a budget of $130 million. It was number 1 for 2 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that's kind of telling about your opinion of this thing. You're like, surely it couldn't have been more than 1 week, but... any guesses to its overall domestic take at the box office?
97 million.
Man, you're way off again. It was 136,314,000 and some change. So
I'm not that far off. Come on, man.
No, it wasn't that far off. I do think it's interesting that it just made its budget back here in the United States, and it's funny because talking to my buddy at the time, he had seen this beforehand came out when I was, I want to say, getting like the summer before my freshman year in high school. And so talking to my buddy, he went out and saw it with his dad or whatever, and he was like, man, this is a pretty good movie, you should check it out. And watching it back then, I was even like, this is not, I don't like this at all, It was not impressive back then. Maybe my mind's changed. But no, it really hasn't.
I'm sure your opinion has changed.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Mine certainly has.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. One thing I think of note is really interesting is the guy that did the music for this movie. His name is David Arnold, and he's gone on to be a composer for the James Bond movies. And he's actually really talented. He's probably the one putting forth the most effort in this thing, I think. But, be that as it may.
Go David Arnold.
Yeah, I guess so. Do you want to dig through this litter pan and unearth Godzilla, Mike?
Dude, I can't wait.
All right, brother, start us out.
So the movie's opening credits is basically, it looks like old film, and they show us that they're at some type of nuclear site. There's iguanas and Komodo dragons and stuff all around.
Right.
And we see a nuclear bomb explode and pan in on eggs, lizard eggs.
Yep. Pretty
That's
much.
it. It's opening.
Yeah. The credits are going over the whole thing. I do think. So I don't know anything about like mutations or the long term. The only thing I know really about the long term effect of radiation on a life form is that it's not real good.
It equals death.
Yeah. I would be interested to find out the explanation of how an iguana laid this egg that housed Godzilla. I don't know if that happened over a period of time or if there's just this big generational leap or if they're just doing it for artistic purposes in the movie.
Are you really fighting with the fact if this is based on science or not, or
or it's a giant lizard that, has radioactive breath that terrasses through Tokyo? I guess I'm putting too much thought into this thing.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I digress.
We are in the South Pacific Ocean on a large fishing ship. Our radar picks up some type of ping, and some type of monster just tears right through the ship.
It does. There's a guy that's sitting there watching the radar, the sonar, I guess. And he's sitting there watching sumo wrestling on his TV while he eats
ramen.
a bowl of noodles. Yeah. What are we get? Should we have this guy like building PlayStations there too? Are there any other Japanese stereotypes we could squeeze in here?
We got to make sure the audience is tracking that he's Japanese.
Right. Hey, dummies. He's from Asia. See the noodles? See the sumo? Yeah. That's so bad. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. No. So they hit this thing. The ship starts to act crazy. Everybody's running around. Wanted to say a Chinese fire drill, but that's culturally insensitive.
Very much so. Yeah. How dare you?
All of a sudden, everything stops, and this big ass hand rips through the side of the ship, and I think it grabs a dude, but whatever. All of a sudden, you see, yeah, and then there's this big ass tail that sweeps through the bridge of the ship. And I guess there's an old man that survived, but we don't know that yet.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, who cares? It's freaking 98 Godzilla.
So the ship goes down quick, and then we cut to a scene where Matthew Broderick is singing in the rain at the Chernobyl nuclear disaster site in the Ukraine.
He's singing in the rain,
Yes.
Yeah. He is at Chernobyl. He has this stupid experiment that he's doing, I guess, where he has these two electrical rods that he pushes into the ground, and they unearth these earthworms that are burrowed below.
He's testing the earthworms. The experiment is not the electrical rods.
Right.
That's just a collection technique.
To get them, yeah. To come up, yeah. You find out later that I guess he's experimenting because these stupid earthworms are growing 17% larger than regular earthworms.
Okay, 17% larger than the regular earthworm. That kind of breaks it back to your question about Godzilla coming from an iguana egg.
Right. You're saying just gradually over time. Yes.
A little bit more than 17% there.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
17% larger iguana is still the size of a small dog.
Right. That would be, yeah, we have a dachshund, and our dachshund would still destroy a 17% larger iguana. So, but yeah. A helicopter arrives, somebody from
Russian.
What?
A Russian helicopter.
Yeah. That thing's weird looking, dude. It's all bent in the middle. What a horrible design. Man, that looks bad.
It flies.
I guess. Barely. It's too bad it got stepped on in the middle.
We find out pretty quick that the U.S. State Department is also on there, and Matthew Broderick, a.k.a. Nick, is being reassigned.
Mm-hmm. He is. Is that where they cut to the hospital?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's right then that we meet a Frenchman who's played by Jean Reno. He's a great actor. I think we've seen him actually pop up once or twice before. Because I remember, for whatever reason, us talking about The Professional. But his name is... Crap, what's his name? Philippe Roche, or Roach. Yes, they keep calling him Roach, but I don't think that's how it's actually pronounced. But anyway, he has arrived at this hospital because he is talking to apparently a survivor. And...
The lone survivor.
Yeah, this guy is heavily traumatized. He is lying in bed in this hospital. He won't say anything to anybody until this Philippe Roach, or Roche, like, holds up a lighter. Whatever that has to do with anything. But
it got his attention.
Yeah, it did. It got him talking. And he asked him, "What did you see, old man?" And the old man says, "Gojira." And so that's what they saw, I guess. That's what he saw, anyway. Anyway, yeah. Right after that, there's an airplane taking Matthew Broderick's character. By the way, his name is Nick Tatopoulos. And that's one kind of cliche of all these movies. Is in the Roland Emmerich thing, is he's all about, like, the nerdy guy that is able to figure stuff out, because, like, that was the thing in Stargate, that was the thing in Independence Day. I don't think I saw anything else after that, but he's in this too, so he has a type, definitely. Everybody keeps mispronouncing his name, and it's pretty awesome. But
yeah, it's a standing joke throughout the film.
I don't know. I think once would have been funny enough, but whatever. They're going to Panama, the Golfos de San Miguel, and apparently they found a footprint there. Why don't you tell us about?
Well, we find that out because he meets with the Army Colonel, and the Army Colonel's like, "You're here to check this thing out," and Nick's like, "I study impacts of such and such, whatever."
Radiation,
and he goes, "Where's my sample at?" And he goes, "It's right there." And he's looking around stupidly like, "I don't see it, I don't see it, I don't see it." And he's standing in the middle of a giant footprint, and then he realizes he's in a footprint.
It's kind of funny because they're like, he's like, "You're standing in it," and he's still like, "I don't see it." And he's like, "You're standing in it," and he's like, I don't see it. Okay. Okay, we get the thing, movie. Give me a break.
He doesn't realize he's standing in a hole.
Right, I think he thinks he's standing in a puddle of something or whatever, but yeah. But, yeah, he's standing in a big-ass hole that's there for no reason. So figure that out. The footprint, by the way, looks freaking dumb as all hell.
What are you talking about? It's Godzilla's footprint.
Well, I know, but it doesn't look realistically like a footprint that would be made by... It looks like something you would make with, like, a cookie cutter or something, you know? That one looks really bad. Later on, they show footprints that are, like, going out to the coast, that those look fine. But this one looks horrible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because it doesn't have, like, any detail on it. It's just, like, the heel of the foot, and it's got 3 little pointed toes sticking up. And then later on, you can see there's actual definition, like the underneath side of knuckles or whatever on his foot. But anyway, yeah, Colonel
We're going to be
Hicks.
here all night, by the way, if you're picking apart every detail of this film.
That's true. They go, he meets this woman, Dr. Elsie Chapman. They show him this video about there was a ship that sank in the French Polynesia area. And then we cut to New York City, where we meet Audrey. This really interesting character named Audrey.
She's interesting, that's for sure.
Is she? Her? I've been watching a lot of Arrested Development lately, but yeah, I guess she's trying to get this job, or this job as a news reporter. She's the assistant for, like, the standing news reporter, and this guy's just trying to bang her. And
sexual harassment again.
Right. Yeah.
1998's just winning.
What was it we watched last time?
That was 89 Batman.
Oh yeah, that's right. What is with
hello
news
legs?
reporters? Yeah. I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, basically, look, the guy she's working for is like, we could talk about your promotion over dinner. How about your place?
Netflix
and he keeps
chill.
trying to get her to go to dinner with him.
But you're married.
Him down.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. So they bring on this.
do a short joke.
Do they?
Mhm.
Oh,
They make him sit down next to like a super tall female anchor.
Oh yeah. Her name's Desiree, and the new co-anchor. By the way, there was something up with that girl's face. I don't know, man. She was, and I'm not even criticizing, but she looked kind of different to me, man. But anyway, so then we cut to the Great Pedro Bluff in Jamaica. This Dr. Elsie Chapman, that's supposedly Nick's boss, she winds up hitting on him, more sexual harassment. She's like, "You're cute," and all that other crap. They see where there is a ship that washed up on a beach, and it has claw marks down the side of it. And that Philippe Roche or Roach dude is there, and he's an insurance.
He's the insurance guy.
Yeah, that's what he claims to be, anyway. We get to where Nick's like investigating stuff there, and he finds these little weird-looking samples on the side of the ship.
It's flesh.
Yeah, it's skin. Yeah.
If you tore through a piece of metal, your hand would cut too.
Yeah, try with a pop can, listener out there. That's exactly what'll happen. So then we cut to the Eastern Seaboard. By the way, they're doing a lot of like globetrotting in this movie.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that at the bottom of the screen they tell us where they are, though.
I kind of do, but I also kind of think it's pointless because we're doing all this globetrotting throughout the first like 3% of this movie, and then the rest of the 97% takes place in one place.
Yeah.
It's really pointless to me, man. All this running around. Really, to be honest, all this crazy stuff that happens at the beginning probably doesn't matter at all. Really, you could just have Godzilla show up in New York City, and then
we could start right here.
Yeah,
on the Eastern Seaboard.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Everybody knows who Godzilla is.
Yeah. Well, and then that's the thing, is that you could do your investigating after he shows up in New York. You know, they're like, "Oh man, we got to call him this Nick Totopoulos. There's like this radioactive thing that's running around," you know. But they don't do that. There's on the Eastern Seaboard. Oh, this is where there's like these 3 fishing boats that are out and about. And
they call them trolling boats.
Yeah, that's it. Guys are just sitting around playing cards, BSing. All of a sudden, the ship stops moving, and they think that there's something. Maybe the like nets are full, and they're dragging them behind or whatever. And they're like, we just cast those nets out there. And so all the guys get on the back of the boats, go check it out. They're trying to hit the engines full bore, and then they start drifting backwards like something's pulling them back. And then they basically get pulled under. All 3 of these boats do. And then one of them...
The crew abandons ship, and then the ships rocket to the surface.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Now we're on an airplane, and there's a radiation discussion. And,
yeah, they think it's a dinosaur.
What?
The people that are with Nick think that it could be a dinosaur that's messing around. And he's like, I don't think it is.
I think they say.
Yeah. They're like, well, where's he been for 65 million years? He's like, I don't think it's a dinosaur. But
it's a mutated aberration.
You wrote that down?
I did. A new species.
Yeah. One thing I find interesting in this is... what is it? Nick seems to be almost clairvoyant. Like he has all this stuff figured out. Like whenever something gets, he's able to just decipher what's up. He's like, oh no, this is radiation that's, you know, messing with stuff. And then later on, he's like, looks at Godzilla. He's like, I think she might be pregnant, you know, and all this. How did you come to these conclusions? You know, this is my thing.
He's a scientist, bro.
But he has nothing to base that information off of, you know. That's all I'm getting at.
What are you looking for here, Shane? Come on.
I don't know. Something smart, I guess. Barking up the wrong tree, yeah. Anyway, we get to where Audrey's pissed about her job. She's bitching to her friend. I didn't write down her friend's name. I don't think.
Is it Lisa?
We'll say Lisa, yeah. Why not?
Doesn't matter. Victor.
Well, yeah, we got Victor, which they call him Animal. He's the one that does Moe's voice on The Simpsons. But yeah, so she's bitching to them about the job, and this guy's a pig, and all this other stuff. And then she actually sees Nick on TV.
Her friend tells her that she's too nice. That that fucking douchebag Anchor just looks at her as breasts that can talk.
Right. Yeah. And that's it. Audrey, I don't know. Her character I thought was kind of annoying, but you know, on the visual scale, she's not bad. She's
very pretty, but she's very annoying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Especially
she's
later
in the
on
news
in the movie.
department, and her naivety level is just insane.
Right. Yeah. I will say, at least she had the clear, you know, the foresight to shoot down the Anchor that was trying to bang her, because I could see her being too naive to pick up on anything.
That's pretty obvious, bro.
Right, but she's not very smart either. So, she winds up seeing Nick, Matthew Broderick's character, on TV, concerning all the stuff that's been going on in regard to lizards and whatnot.
That's my college sweetie.
Right. My sweetie. We get to where, I guess... So, let me ask you, does this movie, New York has horrible weather constantly in this movie, man. It never stops raining.
It's called foreshadowing, Shane.
I guess. It looks really bad. I think that the reason why is because back in the day, if you had rain... And a lot of the action in this also takes place at night. And so back in the day, it was easier to mask or, you know, all the CGI deficiencies that were going on in the studio. Like, it was easier to cover that stuff up if you kept it dark and you kept other stuff going on, like rain. So. Well,
I couldn't imagine, a Godzilla film in a bright, sunny spring day.
Well, fair enough. It's beautiful outside. What's that thing?
The birds are chirping and Godzilla's just wrecking shop.
You're out in the meadow and he just shows up. Yeah. So this is one of the scenes that I actually remember was a trailer back in the day. It was with the old man going out onto the pier to go fishing.
All his boys are talking shit because he can't catch anything.
Right. Like, this fool's going to go fishing in the rain. And he's going to go fishing in the East River and all this other crap. Yeah.
This might be my lucky day.
Right. Yeah. He goes cast his line, and his line gets pulled into the water, almost immediately. And sure enough, then we see Godzilla wreck the pier that he's standing on.
Well, the old man outruns Godzilla that's tearing up the pier.
Yeah. How deep is it right off of this pier, by the way, that Godzilla has enough room to stand up when his head just barely hits the top of the water there? Whatever. We get to...
So Godzilla hits land and just starts fucking stuff up.
Yeah, immediately. Yeah, he just terrasses the city, basically. We get to Mayor Ebert's re-election speech, and apparently he gets interrupted by Godzilla.
Yeah, boats are still falling off of Godzilla at this point.
Right. Yeah.
This is when he goes walking down the street, and the news dude is complaining about not having any good stories.
Right.
As Godzilla walks behind him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't hear the thunderous footsteps or the breaking of buildings.
Oh, 1998. You're so not funny. That's a big gripe I have. I think with this movie, they're actually shooting for the popularity of Jurassic Park, honestly, with a lot of this stuff.
Oh, boy.
They weren't trying to make a good Godzilla movie. They were trying to ride the coattails of Jurassic Park. But
you are jumping the gun on me so hard right now. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Right. Oh, it gets worse as we go. Yeah. But there's little things you'll see... whenever the thing moves or whatever, and you see the water splashing and the whole ground shakes, I'm like, they're just trying to do Jurassic Park, but amp it up, you know. But anyway, this dude Victor Pilati, or Animal as they call him, the Hank Azaria character, he's a cameraman for the news, and so he grabs a camera out of his truck because they see Godzilla go down the street, and so he follows after him. And then he almost gets his ass stepped on at one point, really close
Literally
to it.
Between the toes.
Mm-hmm. By the way, that's a horrible looking computer effect that they did with that. I ain't gonna lie, man. It looks really bad. But... And then they decide...
Mobile Command Center.
Yeah.
They're calling out the National Guard.
National Guard. They evacuate Manhattan, or they're trying to, at least, which is no easy feat. And then Godzilla disappears.
But they lose him.
That's so damn stupid. It's unbelievable, man.
Our brilliant scientist Stick is like, no, he ain't gone. He's hiding.
He's hiding. Oh, really? Because he's like, what, 300 feet tall, but whatever, at least. But he's hiding. That's fine. So Audrey tells the news reporter, the douchebag that's trying to bang her, Charles Kamen, I guess is his name, that she knows a guy that has been in touch with, he's part of the scientific team that's doing the research on the thing. He immediately doesn't care. We see where there's like this perfect hole in the MetLife building.
Yep.
It looks so freaking stupid, bro. Like, how is that building?
Happen.
No, it could not. Absolutely not.
Oh. No?
I disagree. You know how much force it takes? Like, say somebody held like a piece of paper, right? And you were trying to punch through it. Obviously, you could punch through it, right? But it's going to take enough force so that it's going to, like, their hand is going to move. Like, that whole building would have collapsed hard, bro. I think.
Okay.
And you think that the supports on the side, that's not enough to hold up the entire top of that building. Like, it requires all of those beams to hold it in place.
You heard it here first,
I think
folks.
so. That's just me. I don't have any theories about jet fuel melting steel girders or anything.
When dinosaur lizard mutations smash through buildings, they collapse.
The more you know. So, what is it? Philip Rocher winds up as, I guess the Mayor Ebert is going to meet with people that are like his campaign donors. And he winds up, the Philippe Rocher, the insurance guy, puts a little microphone on him, which doesn't factor plot-wise into the movie at all.
It does.
Does it?
But not really.
No.
They show it. But before we move on too far,
Yeah.
when they're back in the diner, after they know it's a dino, or they know that there's a giant Godzilla lizard thing,
Right.
Lisa, Victor's wife, says that Audrey's going to be staying with us tonight. And Victor's like, ooh, threesome. We just talked to her about being sexually harassed.
Right.
And you automatically think that you're going to get a threesome.
Oh, hey, inappropriate. Yeah, that's not good timing at all. After she's bitching about her boss wanted to bang her.
Yeah.
And considering
Then
he
she
works
says-
at the news station with her.
Right. Like, he's very familiar with the situation.
Yeah.
After that, that's when the bug gets put on to the mayor. And Audrey goes back to see her boss. And he's like, give me my bag. This is when the big boys go to work. And she steals his press badge.
Right. She does.
We're going to have to, like, really get through this thing, man.
Yeah, I think we might be making all right time. Well, ish, maybe. Nick.
See Roach in a surveillance van.
Yeah, he's got all of his pizzas. And there's this running joke about how they hate American coffee. It's not that funny.
And donuts.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, that's pretty
They want to
bad.
make sure that the audience understands that he's French.
We are very French. Right. He was like
You
wearing
said this was French roast.
Right. He's wearing
The
like
bag
a...
says French roast.
Right. He's like twirling his mustache and like spouting poetry. Right. Oh, baguettes. Oui, oui. Yeah.
He's wearing a beret.
Right. I am very French. Can't you see? Yeah. Really
wearing
stupid.
a striped shirt. Horizontal stripes, of course.
Right. Anyway.
But I think I described a mime.
Well, I was kind of thinking the striped shirt thing. What is the deal with the striped shirt and French people? I don't know.
Are we sure
why
it's
that's
French
a
people or
thing.
mimes?
No, I automatically thought of French people too. Like I thought of.
We better be careful. We may be offending the mime community.
Right. After last week, I'm sure that they're already on edge. So
they're going to be protesting us in the streets.
Yeah, they hate this. I don't think I've ever actually seen a mime, but whatever. The army and Nick Titopoulos go to this subway tunnel that's been like really badly torn apart. And they decide at that point that there's 17 tunnels that will actually take them off of Manhattan Island. And so they're like, we got to make sure that he's not like getting into these tunnels so that he's like making it to the mainland or anything. Although they never actually, I don't think, do anything to prevent that from happening. But
Yeah, well, they say they seal up the remaining tunnels. They're going to bring in trucks of cement. And Nick, our brilliant scientist, once again says, no, he's not trying to get away. You gotta lure him out.
Right.
So that's when we see the tanks roll up with the helos roll up and a bunch of dump trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And 12 dump trucks dump a giant pile of fish in the middle of Times Square.
That's a lot of fish.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great line. Yeah.
I wrote that down.
That was, once again, Jurassic Park copy off whenever Jeff Goldblum's like, that is one big pile of shit. They couldn't think of anything smarter, so he's just observing things at this point and passing it off as a joke.
Of course, Godzilla takes the bait.
Right. There's army guys everywhere.
We get this big build-up scene where Nick is like, we gotta take the manhole covers off of
So
the
he can
street
smell the
so he can
fish.
smell the bait.
Yeah. And so he winds up smelling one of them, and Nick's out there like pulling the manhole cover off of one of these by himself, and then sure enough, Godzilla emerges right there and like looks at him like he's close enough to like give him a little smooch.
Face to face.
Yeah, it's really weird. So yeah,
It's the first time we see Godzilla in like all his glory.
are we calling it glory?
No,
I think it looks
it's not
really
glorious.
bad. Yeah.
He is not a good-looking Godzilla.
No, sir. If they were basing this off of an iguana, then yes, I could see that being the natural progression of a mutated iguana. But it doesn't look like Godzilla at all. So yeah, they share a moment. And then all of a sudden the army starts shooting at him, and so he starts Godzilla starts eating the fish. But in the meantime, like he's kind of stomping through there like crazy, like tearing shit up with his tail and whatnot. And so then the army opens fire on him.
Yeah, fire at will.
Right.
They say that a bunch of times.
Yeah, they do. If it were me, I would aim for his eye. That's a pretty big target. And I guess you don't want a blind monster running around New York City, but you could conceivably incapacitate him, you know.
Well, I mean, I would just at least like aim at him.
Right. Yeah, they... That's really funny, because the military sucks hard in this movie, man.
Dude, they make us look like a bunch of assholes that can't shoot shit.
Right.
Like, these guys are literally hitting everything around Godzilla. Godzilla is the size of a building.
Yeah.
You
Bigger
should be
than
able to
some.
hit him pretty easily.
Pretty easily, yeah. The military butt fucks this New York City, like, completely, bro. It's really bad.
We get fucked so much in films, man.
Pretty much, yeah. Unless it's like a military movie, there's typically, I mean, there's some negative light, you know, that the military put in, but it's whatever. So then we see Godzilla's radioactive breath.
Is that what it is?
It's supposed to be in a good Godzilla movie, but this
He can
isn't
breathe
it.
fire all of a sudden, as far as I'm concerned.
So it's weird because he like breathes fire onto a car and then it automatically explodes. And so I don't know if that was supposed to be like its gas tank igniting or what exactly, but it looks really awkward whenever he does it.
Well, you don't actually ever see fire like coming from his mouth.
No, it's just cars
But
exploding.
But the stuff that it comes in contact with does catch fire.
Right, exactly.
So he's just got that super hot morning breath.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is, yeah, it might be like fumes or something coming out of it, but yeah, he does have bad morning breath, especially after eating fish. Mm-hmm. Then there's this whole helicopter chase where these helicopters blow up the Chrysler building.
Yeah. Again, they completely missed the giant lizard.
Way to go, yeah. That's really
And they point out to us that the heat-seeking munitions don't work because he's a cold-blooded lizard.
Fair enough.
Then how did we just lock on a second ago?
Well, that's what I'm saying, and something that doesn't really work at all either, because I don't know, man. Like, you know, if he's running around and stuff like that, he's gonna be giving off heat. Being cold-blooded, and my impression of it anyway, doesn't mean that that means that he can change his body temperature changes on his surroundings. But if he's over there breathing fire and stuff like that, then he should have some type of heat signature that's going to be a little bit higher than a building that's, you know, friggin', 5 miles away. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, they blow up the Chrysler building. There's this whole high-speed pursuit. Looks like a
Well,
bad...
now Godzilla's chasing the helicopters.
Yeah.
This part drives me crazy because they just keep shooting. Like, they're just holding down the triggers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hitting him at all. They're hitting everything else in front of them.
Right. Yeah.
And he runs into a building. They unload inside the building. I think they got him.
Right.
They don't got him. He jumps out from a building behind
From
them.
behind him. Breaks through it, yeah.
Yeah, smashes two of the helicopters real quick, and then the third helicopter, like, takes off. He's yelling out, I can't shake him. Just climb, dude. Just go up. Godzilla can't
true.
fucking fly.
Right.
He's big, but you're in a fucking helicopter. Just go higher.
Right.
We don't have to navigate between the buildings.
Exactly. Are we going to ignore the fact that this army officer just got outsmarted by a mutated iguana?
Yeah, he kills him with like a Jaws-like attack.
Right. Well, I'm saying because whenever they're opening fire on this building, it's once again a stupid-looking building with a big-ass hole in it. And so they're just unloading in this thing. And then he's in this building behind it. Well, they were following him. They knew that he went there. How he got behind that building that's behind them, I have no idea. But apparently these army officers are dumber than this iguana is. And then with the last one, he just bites him from underneath. And that's the end of the helicopters.
This is the one like shining moment in the movie because I'm thinking, man, they fucked up this city more than the dinosaur did. And the mayor says the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. So yeah, that they really did. Mm-hmm. And of course,
his assistant offers him some candy. Right. Like he's a child.
Right. And then after that, he disappears again. Oh my gosh, he has awesome hide and seek skills. I ain't gonna lie.
He does.
Yeah. We go to what is it? Nick is under. Oh,
Audrey finds Dick buying pregnancy tests.
Yeah, Nick thinks that Godzilla might be pregnant, and so yeah, he goes to this pharmacy. Dude, if there's this big ass dinosaur looking thing that may or may not breathe fire, are you gonna be at work chilling in the pharmacy?
Well, you never know when you might have to sell some pregnancy tests.
That is true. It is important. So yeah, he gets all the pregnancy tests. Audrey sees him. And then we get a little dialogue barf where apparently Audrey didn't say goodbye when she left.
We get all their backstory in like a couple sentences.
We do.
They were together for 4 years. He proposed. She left and didn't say goodbye.
Right.
The end.
The end. Pretty much that sums it up, yeah. So it's a really uninteresting backstory at that.
Unneeded for sure.
Yeah. That was 8 years ago, and he's still pissed off at her.
I don't blame him.
No. Oh, after we're done with this bit with her, I would be completely done with this woman, but we'll get to that momentarily. So, yeah, he takes her back to his little stupid makeshift lab tent thing, and he makes her this cup of coffee with all of his Bunsen burners. It's like if Walter White was going to make you a cup of coffee. And then, so he's like, he does this whole pregnancy test thing, and he's like, well, the principles are still the same. It's not really what these were made for. That's so retarded that I can't even begin to describe to you. You're testing a reptile, a mutated iguana, and with a human, like an EPT, and assuming that that's accurate.
Well, man, I mean, we have to suspend the belief a little bit if we want to watch a movie with a 300-foot tall lizard.
My suspension of disbelief at this point was spent, dude, and that's really sad because we're about halfway through this thing. What's crazy is we're halfway through and nothing really has happened. Like,
well, I mean, Godzilla's fucked up New York City,
but he continues to, like there's basically from the first time he attacks to this point, there's nothing really extra that you find out except the lame ass backstory between those two idiots. But yeah, that would be like if you could get a hold of like, for example, like grasshopper piss and then put it on a pregnancy test. Do you think that's going to be accurate at all? That's so dumb.
Well, what I think is really funny is the scientist discovers that Godzilla's pregnant. It automatically, because she's like, there's another one out there this size. He's like, no, it probably produces asexual. Like,
Right.
immediately knows that.
Yeah. How he knows that, I don't know. He does that leap a little bit later in the movie, too.
We've talked about asexual pre-production already on this show.
Did we?
Yeah,
I mean,
it was during
mentioned
Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah. About the West African frogs or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. So once again, we're dipping into that well again. This movie wanted so badly to be Jurassic Park, man.
We haven't even got to the part where they really stole from Jurassic Park yet.
No, we haven't. I know what you're talking about. We'll get there. By the way, don't watch this movie. Just listen to us. We'll walk you through it. It's really bad. And it's 2 hours of this foolishness too, man.
2 hours and 13 minutes to be exact.
So Nick is able to surmise that Godzilla is nesting. And so he gets called away for something or other. I think he goes to tell him about the pregnancy test. And she sees a little top secret do not watch or whatever tape. And she pops it in the VCR. And it's the first sighting of Godzilla. Where it did something. I don't remember what. But it was
Happened 5 days ago. It was the opening scenes of the movie.
Yeah, that must have been it.
Yeah, what's fucked up, man, this is why I don't like her.
Right.
She's looking around at his shit, and she sees that he still has, photos up of them.
Yeah.
So she sees that he still, cares about her. He still thinks about her, and she still takes his fucking videotape.
Right. After she
That's
broke
labeled
his
top
heart
secret.
and left him 8 years ago, he's been pining for her for almost a decade, and then she still fucks him over.
Yeah.
And apparently they have the little interview on there, too, of the old Japanese dude talking. He said Godzilla.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And so she takes the tape. With that being said, was there anything on here that was, super incriminating that it was, for your eyes only? Because I'm sitting here watching it going, there's nothing too top secret on here.
That tape is top secret until Godzilla touches NYC.
Oh. Well, they already did.
You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah.
We don't want our people of this country to know that this thing is out there just yet, but once it hits the country,
Right.
that tape's no longer top secret.
Exactly.
It's just footage.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing on that tape that... All of the tape provides is the name for the creature, there's nothing on there that everybody doesn't already know that lives in Manhattan anyway,
Right.
But, yeah. Anyway, she steals the tape, and she winds up making her own little news report about the tape, and she's going to go give it to Kent Brockman, or Harry Shearer's character, and she tells him, I got this tape, whatever, and he decides he's going to put it on the news.
Well, she plans on it being her big breakthrough story.
Right. Yes, she had an inside source and all that, yeah.
Then she got jacked.
Mm-hmm. Well, she jacked Nick, so, and not in a good way. I got no sympathy for you, but... Nick tells the military, there's this briefing, and they tell him all about how he thinks that Godzilla's pregnant. And then the news comes on, and you find out that this Cayman dude that came in onto her, that he's actually stole the story.
I see what you did there, Shane.
Heyo. But yeah, he stole her story, and he basically presented it on the news as his own tale. And then so she's watching it, and she gets pissed off that he stole the story, and Nick gets fired because he let the thing leak. So right after that, Nick's getting ready to pack up and head out, and Audrey comes up to him and tries to explain what happened, and he's pissed off at her, and then basically he's like, good luck with your new career, and then leaves. But if it were me, dude, I would be completely done with that chick. That's pretty cold, I ain't gonna lie, man.
I think at that point he was.
I would not have anything to do with her anymore, but that's just me.
Well, you're not being chased by a giant lizard.
I guess that's true. It changes you.
Yeah, so Victor follows the cab that Nick gets in.
Right, for no reason.
And we find out Roche kidnapped Nick and takes him to a warehouse full of French Secret Service people, and it's stacked full of weapons.
There's a lot of weapons, and there's like 5 guys that are working there.
Yeah.
They've got bazookas out the ass and all these machine guns. How many of those are 5 guys going to be able to carry, bro? I'm just saying.
Not very many.
No. But yeah, go ahead.
Nick asked Roche where he got all the how did he get the weapons into the country,
Right.
and he lets us know this is America. You can buy anything.
Right. Bullshit, but whatever. So basically the French Secret Service is hooked up with Nick to try to find out. They're like, we have the stuff that we need really to take him out, they said, but we just don't know where to find him. And so I wrote down Animal takes Audrey to report on he comes Animal, or Victor, his actual name, he gets in touch with Audrey and he's like, look, Nick's gotten wrapped up with these French dudes. I don't know what's up. Let's go try to figure this out. Crack the case, you know. And so they go to the subway tunnels. That's where the French Secret Service is headed. They use gum as a diversion.
It makes him look more American.
More American. And then he does this really bad Elvis thing.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I do have experience in foreign countries.
Right.
And people do pick celebrities from American movies to impersonate as our accent.
Oh, okay.
Like when I was in Australia, they all thought we talked like John Wayne.
Really? You sound
Yeah.
nothing like that dude, but yeah.
Like I was drinking in a bar and I was trying to do an Australian accent. And as we've established on the show, I'm terrible at fucking accents.
Right.
And I'm like, good day, mate. And they all laugh.
Good day,
They
mate.
laugh. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, laughing at me. And I'm like, okay, let me hear you do your best American accent. And they're like, howdy, partner.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, it would help you with your accents if you understood that saying mate doesn't make you sound Australian.
I don't fucking know, man.
That's
Crocodile Dundee is all I had for an example.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Maybe now that I have a kid, the Wiggles, but that's about it.
The Wiggles. Jesus.
But, yeah, so the military sets up more of this fish bait, as I put down. They pile up some more fish, and I think that they're trying to be more proactive in their attack on Godzilla this time, but he doesn't get lured into it necessarily.
Well, they think they can hit him if he's in an open place.
Right, so they throw him out in Central Park, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Might help him not destroy a quarter of the city, maybe.
Yeah, and then Godzilla. Wait, are we there? Yeah. So
yeah.
Godzilla, so the team is down. I think this is funny too. The French team and the news reporters are in the subway.
Right.
Godzilla burrows through one end, walks through the tunnel, and burrows out the other end towards Central Park.
Right.
And no one dies.
No, nothing happens. He doesn't. And they're not. It's not like they're being especially quiet or anything either. I don't think. You know.
No.
No, it's just whatever. He doesn't.
This is when he is towards Central Park and he's like checking out the trap. There's spotlights fucking everywhere.
Yeah, he knows what's coming.
He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So then he runs away and evades all the fire, then jumps into the Hudson.
Yeah, he evades all the fire again. Yeah. I guess we could go ahead. Yeah, he does like a perfect swan dive into the Hudson. It's great. So basically, meanwhile this is happening, Nick and the Frenchman and Audrey and Animal are kind of like just following behind. Nobody knows that they're there yet. But they decide that they're going to go to the point of origin where he's burrowing from to see if they can find this nest of eggs. And then we get to this really, really bad. So they've already made the army look like a bunch of retards. And so now we get to make the Navy look like a bunch of morons.
Yeah, we see this Navy admiral that we've never seen in the movie.
Right.
He's like, there might be something waiting for him there when the Godzilla jumps into the Hudson. Couple of submarines, no big deal.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty bad. They wind up shooting these torpedoes at Godzilla, and he manages to lead the torpedoes back and blow up the submarines that launched him in the first place. It's so freaking stupid, man.
I'm glad the loss of American sailors' lives make you laugh, Shane.
Yeah, it was. I remember this happening too. It was a big deal. Up until 9/11, this was like the biggest tragedy in New York. So, no, that I find that their incompetence when representing the military is funny, because these guys look like idiots, straight up buffoons. But
well, it's really funny is when they're like full back when they're trying to like avoid Godzilla and the torpedoes.
Right.
Submarines don't go backwards fast.
No, they don't. I'm sure that they have some kind of fail-safe where they can stop them, or maybe even blow them up. But yeah, like remotely detonate them. But yeah, this doesn't pan out well for them at all. So
no, they get nuked.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 more submarines in the water though, and Godzilla like swims up to this wall where the city is. I guess
this fucking wall. Yeah. Why he doesn't just climb out? I don't know.
That's like me trying to get out of the pool or something, but
a really deep pool.
Yeah, and so anyway, he's sitting. It stops him in his tracks, and these 2 torpedoes wind up, they think, killing him. And so it's if that is how Godzilla would have died, the way they kill him isn't much better. But man, that would have been like, such a stupid way to kill Godzilla.
But for all intents and purposes, we could end the movie here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely.
Nope. Let's start a new chapter. Go.
Man, we gotta like start a whole new movie in the middle of this one. So Nick and the Frenchies get to Madison Square Garden, and
Victor's pissed.
Victor's pissed? I was pissed.
because Godzilla fucked up MSG.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's like, oh, he fucked up the garden.
Yeah, because I'm sure he went there all the time. He had money for that. Yeah.
I just think it's so funny that like this dude's just trashed their whole city, and you're worried about the garden.
Right. Yeah. Which, by the way, Hank Azaria cracks me up. Hey, I'm a New Yorker here, it's just, give me some coffee. It's too bad, this Brooklyn thing that he's doing, but I digress. So they get there, they find, at first they're thinking there's like 3 eggs that they find that Godzilla has laid, and then they like keep flipping the switches on in Madison Square Garden and revealing that there's more eggs until there's finally hundreds of them that are revealed.
How is their power still working?
I don't know, because they're using elevators.
Like Godzilla has smashed through most of the city. Like we're gonna have some power issues.
Yeah, like the phones are still working for the most part.
I won't make the big claim that everything would be down,
but a fair amount.
But there would be a good chunk, yeah.
Especially if you're in a building that he just smashed and laid eggs in. I'm pretty sure that grid's
we live in
off
Oklahoma.
Right.
We get a good windstorm and we lose power.
Oh yeah, it's not uncommon at all.
No.
I'll wake up and have to reset my clock. Yeah. But yeah, so they find all these eggs. They don't have enough. I don't think they anticipated this many eggs. They were thinking more like 10 or 12. And they don't.
Well, that's what Nick kept telling them.
Right. And so they brought these plastic explosives. They're like, but there ain't enough for them. And so
they brought like 10 or 12 of them.
Right. And so then
Rochet's all surprised when his guys tell him we don't have enough. He's like, what the fuck?
He actually says shit in French. It's mailed.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Look at your educated ass.
Yeah, I actually took French in high school and a little bit when I...
And that's the only word you remember?
One of them, yeah. I remember eat.
Eat shit?
Eat shit, there you go.
Let me hear that in French. Eat shit.
Manger merde.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You learned something here, folks.
That's good. Yeah, this is an educational show. And we know more about science than these people do, so...
It's a big stretch.
It is. And it's really embarrassing for them, so...
I'm half retarded.
Maybe half. I don't know. I was thinking a little bit more. These eggs start hatching in the middle of this
immediately.
Whole thing. Yeah, they just timed that really poorly. And so, man, this is. Why don't you explain the similarity to Jurassic Park, Mike?
Well, it's pretty straightforward, folks.
Right.
The eggs hatch, Godzilla gave birth to velociraptors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm talking carbon copies of velociraptors. They sound the same, they walk the same, they look around the same, they attack the same.
Right. Now, keep in mind, these I call them velociraptors.
I call them velociraptors throughout the rest of my notes.
There you go. That's it. These raptors, though, they're a little bit taller than your average person. So I would say they're maybe like 7 or 8 feet tall total.
You don't have to imagine. Nick tells us that they're born at 7 foot tall.
Oh, there you go. I didn't catch that. I wasn't really paying attention at this point. but so that would be like
out.
Right. So imagine, if you will, and granted, I'm no expert on the biological goings on of Godzilla, a fictional creature, but in your mind, think of this as...
I like how you always, let us know ahead of time that you're not an expert of what you're about to talk about.
Well, it's true. But if you think about how big Godzilla is versus how big these things are, that would be like a bird laying eggs, and what hatches out of it being equal to the size of its toe, essentially.
What bird are we talking about?
Any bird. But what I'm saying is like, if, say my wife, she gives birth next week, whatever it is, and the baby would be equal to the size of her big toe, was basically the scale that we're looking at of the full-grown Godzilla versus the baby velociraptors,
Well, it does explain how we can have 200 of them.
It does. That would be unpleasant, but...
It's more like fish having babies.
That might be a fair comparison. But this isn't a species of fish either, so the whole thing makes no sense.
It's a fucking lizard.
Right. Anyway, they go through. Apparently, they say that they smell like fish. I guess I'm not sure why. Well, I guess they've been finding fish that Godzilla had been leaving for the babies to eat.
And walking through the subway.
Yeah.
I don't know why you have to explain why these fucking dinosaur things want to eat you.
Well, that's the thing right there, is if there's something moving around, that's it.
They're hungry.
Right.
You're smaller than them.
Right.
They're going to try to eat you.
Right.
Lizards are fucking savage.
They are. It's no joke. Look at like a Gila monster.
They don't give a
something.
fuck.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. So yeah, the people will start getting picked off like crazy. Most of the French guys die immediately, so it looks kind of like World War II, I guess.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you almost snuck that one by me there.
That's good. That's good.
Meanwhile, the residents of New York City want back in the city. They literally have got word 2 seconds ago that Godzilla was dead, and they want back in.
Right. I got work tomorrow. Into
a war-torn city.
Right. You have no home left. You might as well stay wherever you are. Yeah.
A good chunk of you don't.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you have your apartment there, your place of work is gone.
Right. And there's nothing left to come back to. Courtesy of the U.S. military, your home is now a pile of rocks. So, but yeah. So
Roche tells Nick to call in a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Gives him a phone number, repeats it twice, but all the lines are busy.
Right. That's actually not a bad idea, because I was thinking like, man, they're really screwed if these things get out. But yeah, just napalm the whole thing. Fair enough.
Audrey and Victor climb into vents, not unlike the scene from Jurassic Park.
Right. And we find out that these not velociraptors can also open doors. Also not unlike Jurassic Park. There's this whole montage where like Nick is running around and he's literally opening every door, and there's these little velociraptors everywhere behind every one of them. And I noticed there was a Blockbuster sign. That was kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Also extinct.
Mm-hmm. Also extinct. You bet. So at one point, he is cornered, and he hops in this elevator, and there's a stupid velociraptor coming after him. It was really crappy, man.
He just pushes it right on out with his foot.
Yeah, he pushes it out with his foot. That's the weakest dinosaur
like you would
ever.
do with your Labrador.
Right, yes. I think that my 3-year-old is stronger than that, actually. So, there you go.
She definitely fights a lot harder than that.
Oh, yeah.
I've been the victim of Madeline's wrath a couple times.
Yeah, I was today. She packs a punch, dude. She got a mean left hook.
By the way, her pictures from her dance recital yesterday, adorable.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. People say that she favors me, and I was like, I don't know how she could be so cute and still resemble me in any way. But
I'm gonna have to disagree with all those people.
yeah, there you go. So,
She's adorbs.
that's all Taylor right there. You bet. I saw a sign in here for Josta, too. Do you remember that drink?
For what?
Josta?
Josta.
Yeah. It was this weird drink around like the same time that Surge came out.
I remember Surge.
Yeah. I remember.
Matter of fact, Surge came to my high school and like passed out drinks.
Oh, really?
Like for free. Yeah, to students.
Huh. Like
Charlene, if you're listening, do you remember that?
like a heroin dealer giving out free samples, I guess. Get them
Yeah,
hooked.
it's like, here's some free crack, kids.
Right. But yeah, so Animal and Audrey basically are in the duct. They wind up falling out because I guess they're
Right in front of Nick and
Nick there.
Philippe.
And I'm pretty sure Philippe's the only one that's left at this point.
From the French team?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, because there were a couple of them that died pretty early on, and then there were a couple of them that still straggled behind, but they weren't really worth writing down because they wound up dying within a couple of minutes of that anyway. So, whatever.
Yeah, that's right. French team's dead.
Right, yes. I wrote the babies break through, but I guess I didn't write down what they're breaking through. Long story short, they wind up, because they can't get a hold of anybody to napalm Madison Square Garden, but there is a news office that Audrey works for that is there at the Madison Square Garden. And
To cover the Ranger games.
Yeah. And so she's like, let's just broadcast. And so they set up the thing. Nick winds up going through explaining that these babies are born pregnant, which once again, how he knows that, I have no idea.
He's brilliant.
I guess science is all speculation, no actual evidence to back it up. But anyway, they decide that they basically say, go ahead and nuke this whole thing. It doesn't matter what happens to us, but if these things get out, then it's going to be a disaster, and they're going to multiply rapidly. And so
They could produce up to 40,000 within the year.
yeah. Oh, Godzilla, like we are really low on the food chain at that point. And so yeah. So it's about 6 minutes until the airstrike reaches the Madison Square Garden, which seems kind of a long time for me. But whatever.
It's probably pretty accurate, honestly. What is fast to me is how fast they get the message to the military. The military agrees, and they said they'll be there in 6 minutes. That's what blows my mind.
Yeah. I probably couldn't climb in a jet in 6 minutes. But
I've been on the other end of a request for jets. Let's just say I've waited some hours sometimes.
oh, okay. Fair enough. But yeah. So 6 minutes. Yeah. Maybe that's...
If
that
they're
is a
going to
short
be there
period
in
of time.
6 minutes, we'll call what we would call this on station, which
Right.
means they're ready to go.
They're sitting
already
in the
air.
plane. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, anyway, Philippe, he decides that it's time to quit dicking around. And so he...
Thank God.
right. Oh, it's right at that scene where right after they end their little broadcast, that like all these babies bust through this glass office, but they just stand there. They don't ever try to attack anybody or anything. They just poke their heads through. There must be like 8 of them, but whatever. So yeah, Philippe breaks through the window and he lets down this wire or some kind of rope or something so they can climb down. So then they're running away from these stupid velociraptor, not raptors, and so that's when we get like Nick gets the bright idea to take like basketballs and drop it in behind him and like gumballs and all this other stuff. And it winds up tripping. That's so damn stupid. I can't believe somebody actually wrote it. But
It's pretty effective.
way too effective, I'm afraid. They get to
They 30 seconds.
Yeah, and they get to the lobby, and looks like, Velociraptor Woodstock, basically.
Yeah, standing room only for raptors.
Yeah. And so they get the idea to, like, shoot the chandeliers that are leading all the way conveniently to the doorway, and it gives them...
All 3 of them.
Yeah. Man, they get really lucky in this movie. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, basically, whenever they shoot out these chandeliers, the not velociraptors like back off just enough to give them like a wide berth so that they can make it out of the front door, just in time for this thing to go toes up and get destroyed. And
they're literally feet away when these Tomahawk missiles like slam into this building.
Yeah, they are. Like,
they get
probably about
blown
20
off their
feet.
feet, but completely fine.
Yeah, they're good. I do not want to be present if a Tomahawk goes off anywhere near, but yeah.
They do like a fucking sound off, like, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay.
Right.
Aubrey, I'm fine.
I'm fine. So then it's right after that I guess Godzilla has made it back from the Hudson River and is now underneath the rubble of Madison Square Garden, which that's never explained. But
it came to its nest.
Yeah, but how did it get there?
It took the tunnels.
Is there a subway tunnel that leads into the Hudson River?
No, it dug through. Remember they said they were looking for the body earlier?
I guess.
It dug through. Here's what... See, so yes, while I am willing to stretch a little bit to allow that to happen, this is what fucked with me. We already knew that there was a tunnel out of MSG.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck do they think that all 200 babies would be still in MSG?
That's a good question.
At least a couple of them would have been like, what's down here?
Yeah. You're basically herding cats at that point. These things are all over the place,
Right.
Yeah. That's a fair point. They just assume that they got them all, but you don't know. Yeah.
But Godzilla shows up and he's fucking pissed.
Yeah, sees all the dead babies laying there. And it's like, oh, hell no. Yeah.
By the way, this lizard has now given birth to an estimated 200 babies.
Right.
They're still calling it a he.
Best case scenario, it's a it. Yeah.
I mean, asexual reproduction, whatever you want to say, that's fine. And I don't mean to offend anybody. But if you're giving birth, in my world, you're a she.
Right. Yes. I would agree with that. But I don't know.
He's are way too big of pussies to give birth.
I know my wife isn't giving birth, and she's miserable right now, and I would not trade anything to be in her shoes, man.
No.
She is tired all the time.
At best, we're very supportive.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what I always revert back to, and this is kind of a caveat here, but, so whenever I was in the military, we'd do these ruck marches where minimum we'd have to have like 35 pounds, but that doesn't include any of the water that you're carrying or anything like that. But imagine that, like, because we would go, for a 4-hour hike or, ruck march, and afterward I was like, man, this is just awful. But imagine that all the time, like,
yeah, no thanks.
No, I'm good. Yeah. Anyway, Godzilla chases the foursome. They steal a taxi cab.
And they can do what a helicopter couldn't do.
Yeah. This is a badass cab.
And they can outrun Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's better than those stupid helicopters were by a mile. They steal the cab. They manage to get in touch with the military because Nick takes the little cab ID and like chucks it out of the window. And so they're able to hop onto his radio frequency because I know which cab it is. And,
what a fucking stretch, by the way.
That is a way big
like,
stretch.
Nick knows that if I throw the cab ID at this sergeant, he's going to know to go to the taxi cab place and look through the logs to find out what frequency I'm on.
If that were me, I would be like, hey, there's that weirdo that got fired earlier today and he just threw something at me. Screw that dude.
Huge stretch is all I'm saying.
That's true.
But the sergeant gives him a shout out. He's like, good trick with the tag number, by the way.
Yeah. So they get cornered in this tunnel, basically, and they decide that what they're gonna do is go to the Brooklyn Bridge because it's got the cable suspension on it, and so Godzilla's got them cornered. This is so dumb. They turn on their high beams, and that's able to distract him long enough so that they can get out of there.
Lame.
It's so lame, dude. So the cab is almost eaten, but I guess there's some type of electric...
No, they
Go ahead.
drive into its fucking mouth.
Oh, yeah.
It's not almost eaten. They're driving down the Brooklyn Bridge, and they're like, where's Godzilla? And then Godzilla pops up. They drive into its mouth, and Godzilla gets to munching. Just nom, nom,
Yeah.
nom, nom, nom.
Crushing that cab, yeah.
But Nick grabs an electrical cord that's hanging from I don't know where
Somewhere, yeah.
and sticks it to the gums of Godzilla, which he's like, ow, and he lets it go.
Yeah.
And this nom nom cab drives away.
Yeah, it's fine. Didn't puncture the gas tank, nothing. It's still operating just fine. The wheels
Even
aren't
all the
even...
tires are fine.
Yeah, they're not even flat. Yeah, I was just about to say that. So
No one
it's...
caught a canine in the head.
No, that's good. That's what I was hoping, is that either Audrey or Matthew Broderick would kind of get impaled in the head. But because I gotta say, all throughout this movie, because I actually, like, I'll watch movies. Granted, this wasn't like a stretch for his acting or anything like that. And I actually just found a copy of it the other day at Target for $4. But Ferris Bueller, I love that movie, and he's great in it.
Great movie.
Yeah. I like Glory with him and Denzel and all them dudes in it.
Fantastic movie.
Oh, yeah. And he's great in it. But in this movie, everybody looks so bored and just uninterested. Like, just nothing going on, just getting a paycheck, you know.
Yeah, money grab.
Eventually, though, Godzilla does get caught in the suspension cable. As the bridge, like, starts to collapse under his weight, the cables break free and, like, manage to tie him up. And so, basically, he's unable to move. That's whenever the fighters come by. They hit him with both barrels.
No, they hit him with 6 rockets total. No, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 rockets total.
I'm really glad that this is in an alternate reality from the Japanese one, because if that's all it took to take out the real Godzilla, then Japan would have been fine a long time ago. But yeah, that's a pretty pussy way to die. But there's that whole stupid scene at the very end where, like, the main character is, like, a little bit sad that the creature's dead. I don't know why
It takes him a while to die.
Yeah, it does. And they play a little heartbeat over the thing, which is really lame too. But yeah, we're supposed to feel bad for Godzilla for a minute after he just butt-fucked New York City, but whatever. And then everyone celebrates after in the knowledge that Godzilla is dead. Audrey quits her job working for Cayman. And
Roche has the videotape that Victor's looking for.
yeah, he says he needs to, like, edit it and then he'll send it to him.
AKA redact. We call that redacting.
There you go. And why don't you tell us about the little clincher right there at the end, Mike?
At the very end, with all of our splits built to a peak, we pan in and see one lone surviving egg in the middle of Madison Square Garden's basement.
Oh man, I can't wait for the sequel. It's gonna be so
We better
good.
wait. It's been 20 fucking years. I don't know if it's coming.
Since they've done another movie that's completely unrelated to this, I don't see it happening. But that's Godzilla. And then we're treated to Sean Puff Daddy P. Diddy Combs rendition
Yeah, he goes,
of right?
yeah.
And to add insult to injury,
I'm gonna do this the rest of the show. You
Oh,
just keep
God.
talking. Yeah.
Yeah. To add
sorry, go ahead.
insult to injury, they also interject, like, Godzilla screeches at some parts of the song.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah. But, so yeah, we get to hear that after we see this, you know, bomb of a movie. We get to hear that bomb of a song. Then we get to hear the wallflowers, which is kind of nice. So, whatever. But that is that. What did you think of Godzilla, Mike?
That's what I thought of it.
What did you think of it when you first saw it? I guess is a better question.
I don't think I thought. I only watched it the one time, so
Right.
obviously it wasn't something I was like, "This is awesome." But I was like, "It's a movie."
You can turn your brain off, have a good time. Yeah.
That's one of the downsides of this show.
Is you look
Is
at
that-
it analytically?
Yeah, we actually got to look at what we're seeing
Right.
and really pay attention. We can't just turn on and tune out. Like
Right.
we're actually like paying attention to what the fuck we're watching.
Yeah.
And I'm not educated in films, man. I'm just not. I'm just a movie fan. You know what I mean?
I got you.
And when I see a character, and look, I have not been the woman basher of this show. You have owned that title 100%. But Audrey is just like so space cased.
She doesn't give anything extra to the plot. She might as well not be there.
She fucks over her dude
Right.
at every turn, and he still like kisses her at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Victor's called the animal. They don't tell us why.
No. He's just... he's not even particularly crazy,
Godzilla is practically invincible till he
the
gets
end.
caught in some cables.
Right. Yeah. I didn't like it back then. I don't like it now. It hasn't aged well at all. It looks like shit. That's all I gotta say, I guess, really, about it.
It was way too long.
Oh my god, it's long.
They could have cut out the prelogue at the beginning until Godzilla got to New York City, and we could have cut out the whole baby stuff.
Oh, yeah. Because all that was is a poor man's Jurassic Park, That's all. It's kind of...
The raptor chase scenes around Madison Square Garden are just bigger versions of the kitchen scene in Jurassic Park.
But see, the funny thing is none of it is ever done as effectively as it was done in Jurassic Park.
No.
Because
instead of just having two really smart fucking raptors, we're going to slam 200 baby Godzillas at you.
Right. And after he opens like 6 or 7 doors in a row and there's a stupid raptor behind each and every one of them, when he goes to open the next one, you already know what's going to happen, Plus,
I love when the elevator opens and one of the raptors is just like eating popcorn.
Right. One thing about Jurassic Park as well is those are characters that I actually gave a shit what happened to them. And so whenever they were in danger, then I was legitimately concerned for them. In this, I don't care what happens to Nick Totopoulos. Like, they even make a joke that his name's not worth remembering or trying to pronounce it right,
Yeah, he even gives up on correcting folks.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly. And his little girlfriend, I've seen extras in movies that I cared more about than her, So, yeah. It's dumb.
I don't know, man.
Pointless.
It did not deliver.
No, it's pretty bad.
It had so much potential.
It could have been really good. I mean, and especially some of the marketing that they did for the movie, like the whole like size does matter, and like they would have like city buses that had like his foot on the side of the bus, and stuff like that would like try to give you some type of scale as to his size and stuff. Like that's a really cool marketing idea, But no, it was dumb. Don't waste your time. If you have a chance to watch this, I suggest you watch something else. So, but we have a little bit, believe it or not, a shout out that I feel as though is due. Our buddy Preston, who's his YouTube handle is STLPlaya78, so I assume that's St. Louis. I didn't know he was associated or affiliated with St. Louis, but whatever. Apparently, Jerry Hall was with Mick Jagger, not Paul McCartney. So.
Ah, damn.
Yeah. So you owe me one there, Mike, because I had to do a shout out on your behalf. So.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I actually also wanted to give a shout out.
Yeah.
At the end of our last episode, we talked about how Tim Burton's success was launched after Batman, I was kind of the antithesis, or the guy who drove this point home,
Right.
where I said that, like Beetlejuice was more of a cult classic than it was a success for Tim Burton.
Right.
And our buddy Jason Cook, who you might all know as the guy who was on episode 10 with Forrest Gump.
Right.
He sent Shane and I the text that said, Beetlejuice made 5 times its budget. I consider it more than a cult classic. I think it won an Oscar too for makeup and some shit, laugh out loud. Keaton was great, and it was one of our first encounters of Winona Ryder.
Oh.
I love Beetlejuice, and in my opinion, that's the movie that solidified Burton's career and got the whole ball rolling.
Right.
And with that statement, I would have to agree with him.
Yeah. It definitely put his foot in the door. So, yeah. I was thinking that Beetlejuice was a big ordeal because they even had a Beetlejuice cartoon for a while and like video games and stuff like that. And so, I mean, I wouldn't say it was as big as Batman was, but it had its little place in cinema history. So, good looking out, Cook and Preston. Yeah. Anyway, this was 2 weeks, number 1.
That means you get to pick, fucker.
Yes, and I have one in mind. I came
sure you
prepared, unlike you. Next week, go
you
ahead.
had time to prep.
Well, yeah. I told you to prep. You didn't prep. No, next week we're going to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I'm really looking
I don't want to
forward
watch
to
it.
Why?
Because my memories of it are so good.
I actually saw it recently, and I think it stands up. So,
All right.
yeah. Plus, it was, like the late 80s that movie came out, but it's also in kind of its own little time capsule because it takes place in the 40s. And so I think that it actually has aged pretty well, all things considered.
Well, I don't want to get into it too much.
Right.
We can hold that for our next episode.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, what I will do, however, is give some contact info if you feel like you want to email us and contribute in any way. You can shoot us an email at cheesymovie@yahoo.com. Our YouTube handle is Casino Royale WCheese, all one word, much the same as it is on iTunes or anywhere you get your podcast. Our Twitter is Casino Royale WCH. Our Facebook page is Casino Royale with Cheese, all separate words. Instagram, Casino Royale WCheese, which I have been updating regularly, so I'm proud of myself. And I think that's all of our social media crap that we have in place. But I think that's going to do it, homie.
Hey, I just would like to say again to those of you who actually take the time out and listen to what Shane and I do for you guys. I greatly appreciate you. You guys may not know, but this takes a good 6 to 8 hours out of our week every week to put the show together for you. We have a baby coming soon. If you guys don't know about how our families operate, that means my wife and I, along with Shane's wife and him, are expecting a child soon, and so it's going to be pure chaos.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do our very best to make sure that we get our episodes out every week.
Right.
But we may be a little flexible in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, you kind of got to get into that whole niche, that's a new circumstance, so we got to kind of fit into that groove. But, we'll get it figured out, sorted out. I don't know what it's going to look like, but we'll, it's just going to be a bumpy road, that's it. Just got to drive on it.
The show must go
It
on.
must, that's it. But, anyway, I want to thank everybody for listening. Once again, as Mike said, I'm going to tag along with that and say we do appreciate y'all that do. And make sure you join us next week for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. See you then.
Bye.
I'll be back.